Welcome to Day 7 of the 10 Days of .org. I'm John Nevitt, the CEO of the Public Interest Registry, the people behind .org. Over the past week, we've celebrated truly amazing organizations for their work in making both their communities and the world a better place. I so wish that we could be together this year in person, but we're grateful that we can come together in this virtual setting to showcase the incredible organizations that make up the .org community. Today, we honor the newcomers, those organizations that have emerged over the last 5 years to make an enormous difference in the world. So let's get to it and kick off Day 7 of the .org Impact Awards.
Thanks, John. My name is Sarah Simmons, and I'm your host for this year's .org Impact Awards. Today, we honor those who have just arrived on the scene, organizations that are on the cutting edge, tackling new challenges with innovative solutions. Those organizations help in so many ways, but what they have in common is that they all are starting their journey in helping their communities and making a significant impact on the world. Now, let me turn it over to today's award presenter, Paul Bindle.
Thanks for the kind introduction, Sarah. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Bindle, and I'm the Vice President of GoDaddy Domains Registrar. And I've been working closely with PIR on their wonderful organization for the last 5 years. .org works tirelessly to serve their communities, and we all know that those first years are some of the hardest. I'm honored to help highlight a few of many hardworking .orgs that are just beginning their journeys. These organizations may not have been in operation for long, but have all made a significant impact. So, without further ado, finalists for the 2020 .org Newcomer of the Year Award are
Angel Aid Cares. Founded in November of 2018, Angel Aid Cares supports research and provides support, relief, and inspiration for mothers of children with rare diseases. This year, Angel Aid Cares partnered with the Microsoft Hack for Good team to shift all their services online and developed the Angel Aid Multilingual Community Portal, which provides critical online programs and tools. Worldwide, there are 350 million mothers of children with rare diseases, and Angel Aid Cares wants to reach them all by 2025. Fleece and Thank You. This Michigan-based nonprofit is dedicated to providing connection, comfort, and hope to children facing illness. They host over 400 blanket-making events each year, with the goal of creating 30,000 fleece blankets annually, one for each child in Michigan that is hospitalized. Every blanket comes with a personal video message from the blanket maker to the child recipient. Fleece and Thank You wants all hospitalized children to know they're not going through their hospital stay alone. Arwa Damon. Arwa Damon has sought to fill the gaps in medical care for war-wounded and war-impact children in Lebanon and Turkey through the nonprofit Inara. This new .org proved its versatility in 2020, distributing 1,500 hygiene and food packages to war-impacted families who were also facing economic devastation from the pandemic. And hours after the Beirut blast, Inara set up an advanced first aid tent in the city, bringing in more than 100 doctors and medical staff to help blast victims. Sustainable Health Empowerment. Believing no one is healthy until everyone is, Sustainable Health Empowerment fosters equitable health care in underserved communities. Sustainable Health Empowerment began in 2017 with a focus on Cambodia and Cambodian immigrant populations. They have launched medical education scholarships for students of color, distributed PPE in the pandemic, and have developed expansive telehealth programs, which are estimated to reach 100,000 people. Tzedek DC. Drawing from the Jewish teachings of Tzedek, or Justice You Shall Pursue, Tzedek DC works to safeguard the legal rights and financial health of low-income DC residents dealing with predatory lending and abusive debt collection, which can culminate in unemployment, homelessness, or prison. Opening their doors in 2017, Tzedek DC works with law students, community organizations, and pro bono attorneys to close the justice gap.
These emerging organizations and individuals are making a huge difference in a very short period of time. We thank and honor them for their incredible contributions. But let's go to it. The 2020 .org Impact Award for Newcomer of the Year goes to Arwa Damon, President and co-founder of Inara. Our own organizations, Inara, are being honored for providing life-saving and life-altering medical care to children in conflict areas who have catastrophic injuries or illnesses. As a winner of this award, Arwa and Inara will receive a $5,000 donation. We are so fortunate to have with us today Arwa Damon, the president and co-founder of Inara. Thanks for joining us, Arwa. Arwa, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm absolutely thrilled and honored to have Inara recognized in this way.
Can you take a moment to share how you developed the concept of Inara?
The concept for Inara is a direct byproduct of my reporting from war zones, but specifically goes back to a story I did in 2007 about a little boy named Yusuf. And back then, Yusuf was just 5 years old, and he had had unknown masked men pour gasoline on his head and set him on fire when he was standing outside of his home. And his father had gone door to door for months, visiting ministries, hospitals, NGOs, trying to get follow-on medical care for his little boy. Because when we met Yusuf, his face had hardened into this mask of rivers of scar tissue that prevented him from opening his mouth, from eating properly. He was very angry. He had completely transformed into a child that his parents really no longer recognized. And we weren't entirely sure as CNN, as the Baghdad Bureau, exactly what kind of response reporting the story would get. And I have to say, we were all shocked because the report went out and all of a sudden the support came pouring in from all over the world. It transcended boundaries, ethnicities, nationalities. People just wanted to come band together to help this child. And because of that, Yusuf and his family ended up going to Los Angeles. He ended up receiving the treatment he needed. And, fast forward to today, he's a freshman in college. And what's really quite striking is how that experience of actually receiving the medical care he needed transformed his narrative, transformed his life. Because Yusuf today, he no longer actually remembers the attack. His life, yes, of course, it's defined by what he went through, but when it comes to his psyche, it's not the evil that has the most weight. It's the fact that he was shown kindness and compassion and that strangers came together to try to help him. And so when the war in Syria was really raging in 2012, I reached a point where I had come across so many kids in these war zones that needed help, either because their parents didn't know how to exist the help that was already out there, or because the kind of assistance that they needed quite simply wasn't available. And because I realized that there was such a profound need, that so many kids were getting injured either directly as a result of war or as a byproduct of war, I reached a point where I could no longer just witness this. I could no longer just report the news. I had to do something more. And I also realized that there was an ability to do something more. There was an ability to bring together the kids who needed help with people who wanted to help, with institutions that could provide the medical expertise. And so that's basically how Inara was born.
There are so many children who are suffering in conflict areas. What can we do to help these children?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many kids out there that need help. And yes, Paul, it can be overwhelming at times when you think about the sheer need that exists in all of these different violent conflict zones. But I think what a lot of people need to realize is that nothing is too little. Whether it's educating your children about what's happening to other less privileged kids around the world, and then maybe encouraging them to start a club in their school to raise awareness, to learn about what's going on, to try to fundraise and then donate to an organization that can actually directly help these children, or whether it is about, donating to organizations themselves, whether it's Inara or another organizations, because there are a lot of organizations and people out there that are trying to make a difference. And no act of kindness is too insignificant. No donation is too small, because all of these little bits and pieces, they come together to form a greater good. We are past the time where we can afford to wait for governments to actually step in and make a difference to these children's lives. And I see it every day throughout my experience with Inara, what a profound impact accessing medical help does for a child and for their entire family, or accessing psychosocial support, mental support. You see the balance within these kids' psyche changing in a heartening way. You see them begin to dream once again about their future. And Paul, a lot of these children, when we first meet them, because of the injury, because of everything that they've witnessed, that spark of childhood innocence that's normally in a child's eyes, it's deadened. But do you know what? It's not gone. It can be restored. But we can only restore that when we all really come together.
You've been able to accomplish so much in a very short period of time. Where do you go next?
We've accomplished a fair amount in a short period of time, but to be frank, I feel like we need to do so much more because the need is so great that's out there. We need to continuously, and we are continuously fighting to try to keep Inara alive. And we're also trying to expand. That's very crucial for us so that we can reach more children in more war-torn areas and more conflict zones, because they are the future generations. They are the ones who hopefully, ultimately, will be the ones who will be part of the effort to eventually be able to rebuild their countries. And so for me on a personal level, but also for us as Inara, we're constantly looking towards how can we build better? How can we build a better organization that's going to access more children? Because ultimately, we all need to do better. We all need to do better by these kids who so desperately need our help.
On behalf of the Public Interest Registry and all the people behind .org, I want to once again congratulate you and thank you so much for all that you do to help these children. Your work is really inspiring, and we wish you the best as you continue to help these incredibly resilient and heroic young people.
That concludes day 7 of the 10 days of .org. We want to thank our winner, Arwa Damon from Inara, all of our finalists, and all of the other organizations that submitted an entry in this category. Join us again tomorrow for day 8 of our 10 days of .org celebration as we present the 2020 .org Impact Award for fighting hunger and poverty. We hope you enjoyed today's online event, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.